Welcome to episode 3 of the Bachelor Universe podcast. I am your host, Jim Alexander. Today we will be going over episode 3 of the Bachelor Nick Viall season. Just to start you guys out, you can reach me on Twitter if you need to, at JimRKO, or check out my blog at bacheloruniverse.wordpress.com, or just Google Bachelor Universe. So that's how you can reach me. And let's delve into the action. And the action starts with Corinne. Of course, who else? Corinne dominated last episode, and it doesn't let up from this one. She is dominating from the start again. So the action starts off where the women were about to hear the news from Nick last episode about him hooking up with Liz. So now the truth is coming out, right? We get to hear what really happened. And the odd thing is that they were on a rooftop. He was going to break it to a few of the women who were on that date with Liz. And suddenly the women are in a house. Like, they're back in the mansion. They're just gossiping and telling each other about it. So what happened from the rooftop to the house, we completely do not know or have seen, because they just move in time and forget that he was about to reveal something to them. Apparently, the assumption is that he did. So here's them just talking it up. That was just so odd, kind of lack of continuity sort of thing, where they just take you away and make you think that you shouldn't remember what happened last week, that weird action stopped. But either way, the women are talking about him sleeping with Liz, and obviously Nick tries to clear up the air when it comes to that, and he finally explains it to the women about how he actually had sex with Liz, and their stone-faced looks probably say it all in response to that. But finally, the Liz saga comes to an end at that point. There's nothing more to cover. He's told everyone. Some of the women took it better than the others. And that's it. So Liz is in the books officially. Now it's all on to Corinne. And Corinne wants a serious commitment. So in her mind, the best way to get a serious commitment is sex it up and get sexual with Nick. Usually not the way to do that, but in Corinne's mind, of course it is. So she comes up with some little shtick. Basically, what she does is get some alone time with Nick, as she always manages to do, and she comes with some Miracle Whip, like whipped cream. Not Miracle Whip, it's one of those whipped creams in a can. So she comes equipped with that. And right away, we know that she's not wearing much, because she's basically wearing a trench coat and pretty much naked. So she gives Nick a look at that and a bit of a tease, and he's well aware she's not wearing anything beneath it, and she starts to proceed to spray this whip all over her chest, and asks Nick to lick it off. Tempting it is, and Nick, of course, succumbs to it and does it. Does a lick off her chest area. Didn't get that graphic, although they did have to censor her boob. So she was leaving it all loose again. Not that he hasn't seen it before. And then she pours the whip in his mouth and does the same in her. And I believe she attempted to lick it out of his mouth. Some kind of crazy stuff that was kind of disgusting. Actually, a lot disgusting. Well, basically proving that Corinne will stop at nothing and is capable of everything. So the whipped cream is gone, and she wants him to keep on going for it, and probably like hook up with her. But Nick starts feeling some guilt, and some women are in a lookout too. So it finally gets to him, and he doesn't proceed to go with Corinne's seduction methods of whipped cream. So it kind of failed in the larger aspect of it. So there we go. And straight on to the roast ceremony. That's what you do after you fill yourself up on some whipped cream. So weird. Then the roast ceremony is early. It's one of those early ones, which were made famous on Caitlyn's season. How the beginning of the episode or middle of the episode would always have it up. A roast ceremony, not the end. So, roast ceremony. Nick arrives, the women are there, and Corinne, who is distraught that Nick turned her down. She was a crying wreck after that Nick didn't want her, contemplating on leaving, just being overly dramatic. What does she do to follow it up? Oh, she doesn't show up for a rose ceremony. She legit does not show up for the rose ceremony. She is sleeping. She's out. That's the simplest way to put it. And the women are wondering where she is. Nick is wondering where she is. On to the roses. He decides to proceed. So the first rose goes to Astrid, Brittany, Christina with the accent. We found out the accent is Russian, actually. So now we know Christina's Russian. Kristen, Rachel, Danielle, Whitney. I still don't know who Whitney is. Taylor, Vanessa, Raven, Jamie, Dominique gets one, Sarah, Alexis the Shark, Josephine, and Jasmine. So that means that Haley and Lacey are going home. Haley to me seemed like a keeper. I mean, not only that she doesn't wear any panties and that she's a Canadian from Vancouver and she's super sexy, but he just didn't seem to have a connection with her for whatever reason. I don't get it. She's a very attractive woman and had a lot going for her. You would think someone that would stick around for a while, but she just didn't. So that's that. Chris Harrison arrives with a date card. Of course, our first date, a group date, and it is Danielle L., Kristen, Christina, Whitney, once again, don't know who Whitney is, Taylor, Jasmine, and Corinne. And they are going to, well, the announcement is made in the house as the house is filled with the Backstreet Boys. Yeah, like Backstreet's back, alright. Those guys. Wow, they are back, actually. I did not know that they were even together as a group. That was about 15, 16 years ago was their heyday. Not sure what they're doing back. Even more, maybe 17 years ago. Wow, years have flown. But the Backstreet Boys are back. And the group date is a concert. They're going to a Backstreet Boys concert, and I don't even know where they have a concert for them. And they're going to be dancing on stage, and they're going to be basically the backup dancers for the show, for the Backstreet Boys. And the winner, well, there's going to be a winner, and probably he's going to get some kind of gig with Nick. So, there it is, Backstreet Boys. Kind of cool. I mean, it was okay. You know, at least someone that people are aware of who grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. But it's the Backstreet Boys, so it feels like a decade overdue and too late. But it is what it is. Most of these girls were just freaking out and it was the Backstreet Boys. Although I'm not sure why, because most of them were probably like 6 when they were in their heyday. So I don't know, was it like history lessons about the Backstreet Boys, that they heard about him. What did they have to do? Some kind of Wikipedia search? I don't know how they remembered him. Although personally, I know that NSYNC would never stoop down to such levels and go on a Bachelor. So there you go. Backstreet Boys still trying to get it done. Kudos to them, I guess. So yeah, now they are being trained, the women, to dance. They need to get some dance moves. And Nick is dressed in some tight pants with them, and they're going over dance moves, and Corinne can't dance. It's painfully obvious that she can dance, has no moves. I mean, if you had to compare it to something, probably best comparison would be a drunk penguin. Probably, yeah. That would be a good comparison to Corinne's dance moves, which is brutal. So there we go. She does not have much of a chance on this date. So the concert happens. Everyone's dancing in the background, however they prepared. Some of these women could dance, as evidence in the rehearsal, such as Danielle L. She had some moves, and she looked good doing it. So they do dance, and it is apparent that Danielle L is the best of them all, and she gets the reward. She gets not only to be on stage and dance, but she gets the reward of a solo dance on stage with Nick, which really, once again, is that a reward? Is that really what you are hoping to get out of it? A solo dance surrounded by other women and teenage women in the crowd, or girls, or whatever. I don't even know what demographic was there. Maybe just planted members by ABC that they picked out. Who knows? So Corinne, of course, is on the edge. What's new? And yeah, what does she do when she's frustrated and can't take it anymore? The jealousy that Danielle L. won out. Corinne goes to take a nap. So this is apparently her thing. Is taking, just as Chad had his food, Corinne's thing is taking a nap and going to sleep. The funny thing is how she even got a rose when she was sleeping. So not that she didn't show up for a rose and didn't make it further. No, she just had a rose laid to her on her when she was sleeping, as if she was dead and this was some funeral. Whatever, she's still around. Back in the house, a date card arrives. Danielle M. reads it, and Vanessa's getting a solo date. So another favorite, getting her opportunity to go one-on-one. Danielle M. was the first one, and Vanessa is the next one. So this sounds like a fitting date card for someone that it's going to get far and makes sense. So there we go. As far as the date rose for the Backstreet Boys, that goes to Danielle L., who looked the best, danced the best, and won it. I mean, what other reason would you not give it to her for? So there you go. She was going to stick no matter what. So the Nick and Vanessa Soul date, right? It is a date on 0G plane. Apparently it's some pseudo-astronaut kind of thing where you're floating in the back of a plane. You're zero gravity, obviously, as the name says. So they will be floating in the air. I don't know how that's fun. And soon Vanessa recognizes it is not fun. Initially she has her legs wrapped around Nick midair, like a vice grip, but then nausea takes over. Oh yeah, I can't mess with nausea. And apparently no one reminded Vanessa to take any motion sickness pills because she is officially puking up a storm on that plane. So yeah, Nick came equipped with paper bags, and she just puked and puked and puked, and Nick did not care as he made out with her. Not sure what that was all about. And she actually kind of called him out for it, like, "Ooh, you're gonna kiss me?" And he literally said, "It tastes fine, tastes good." So Nick has no standards whatsoever. That just basically proves to the world that this guy would kiss anything. Like, we didn't know that, but he will now kiss a girl who just puked. So that's further proof. Although, to their credit, they did have like good chemistry. You could tell that he's super into this girl. Some genuine moments together, and she's sticking around. There's no doubt about it. Vanessa is a player in this season. Puke or not, she did not puke over this situation. She gets Nick to care for her and be just literally mesmerized here, the way he looked at her, clearly. So at home, there's a date card, another group date, and that one will have Rachel, Alexis, Astrid, Jamie, Sarah, Brittany, and Dominique. So they are going on a date. Seems to me probably a stupid one, as they do one cool date and one stupid one. And boy, was I right. It was a stupid one. But more on that in a second. Back to Nick and Vanessa. So they have their dinner date, which is kind of customary at night, inside the tallest building in LA. Nick kind of claims that and is so proud of it. But I mean, it's like the tallest building in LA, a place where it doesn't really have tall buildings due to earthquakes and all sorts of stuff. That's like bragging about being the tallest midget, you know? Like, you can't tell me that you're bragging about being the tallest building in LA. Ugh, Nick, a lot to learn, bro, especially since you're Chicago and you have the Sears Tower, or the Willis Tower, quote unquote, which used to be the tallest building in the world. So he should know, with the city of skyscrapers. Yeah, Nick missed the beat on that one. But their date actually goes pretty well. Again, Nick rehashes the history of him on the show and who he dated, the stuff we all know. It will literally not stop till the season ends. It's just such an overkill. Why are these women asking this? Like, just Google it. Watch YouTube. I don't know. But yeah, Nick is so thrilled to be with Vanessa that he literally starts shedding tears. Like, actually, he begins to cry in excitement. Then he tells her this, that he's crying in excitement that she gives him being around her. Clearly, that is good enough to earn her a rose that she gets. That's an obvious one. But wow, Nick really getting emotional just on being around her presence. First, he's licking off puke, and now he's crying for her. So this girl, she better make it to the final after all that. Now, to let off steam and ease the crying, where's that group date? It is, we see Nick running track and announcing that he was such a track star. He probably really wasn't. I mean, once again, you're in Waukesha. Is track big there? I don't know if they even have a track around there. So Nick, once again, you are basically announcing that you are the biggest fish in a sink, in a sink-sized pond. Not a big deal. But what is this group date? It is a group date running. I mean, what else would women love to do on a group date? You could think, forget about the lavish dinners or helicopter rides or boat rides. You would want to have, the elements would be, you would want to sweat. You would want to, be out of breath. You would want to be in the heat. and you would want to look kind of messy. So that's what Nick does. The group date is them running around a track and doing track and field events. Now, whoever was unfortunate to be on this group date will have to partake in all that. Well, they had Olympians Carl Lewis and Michelle Carter and another Olympian join them to help out, kind of show off what to do. But yeah, these are Nick themed activities that were lame. And I guarantee you not one woman was happy to be there. Alexis kind of proved to be one of the more athletic ones of the non-athletic bunch of girls. Once again, tallest midget of the group. That sort of applies to this. Rachel, Astrid, and Alexis are vying for time with Nick, right? The goal is to get some hot tub time with him. I mean, can you imagine what's going through like a real Olympian like Carl Lewis's mind? Like, he is ushering a track event where getting to a pool with Nick is your prize. Unreal. So, what happens? The final three come down to vie for time with Nick. They have a little sprint and they need to get a ring at the end of it, like a fake big ring, a prop. And of course, you had to have something ridiculous happen, and it does for Rachel. She crushes it. Literally, she crushes the ring, not the race. She breaks it. So there you go. Can't even do that right. So by default, Astrid is at least aware and picks up the shatters of this broken plastic ring and takes it to Nick to the hot tub. So she gets hot tub time. This was ridiculous. This was a joke. This was so dumb that everyone must have hated this. I hated watching this. I can't imagine anyone in the country found this fun. These women must have been regretting that they're not sitting in an air-conditioned mansion. Instead, they're running around a track. Nick, get better activities to do, okay? Jeez, even Ben Higgins had better stuff going. And he was like a country boy. Go figure. So, the only day, the group day does go to Rachel, though. So, surprise, surprise. I didn't see that coming. But Nick finds a way to keep on giving her roses. So, there she is, rewarded again. Dominique just can't handle this situation. She's just too on edge and not being able to deal with this and getting time with him. So she confronts Nick. That is what way to do this. The best way, confront him, right? So that is going to assure you a quick exit, and it does. She basically starts complaining about not having time with him, and the reason she's not having time with him is because he's not into her. And guess what? Off she goes home. Gone is Dominique. See ya. We barely knew you. Had to talk her way out of it. So that was that. So the only way to salvage all this, cocktail party? No. Chris Harrison announces there will be no cocktail party. There will be a pool party instead. Of course, another reason for Nick to take off his shirt and these women to take off theirs. And we know who will be taking off theirs. Corinne, who's always on board. And what does Corinne do? She takes it further. She takes it a step further. She's a woman who goes a mile further all the time for her man, that being Nick. She arranges a bouncy castle. Yeah, like the one you would do for like a 12-year-old. So this is concerning. There's a grown 24-year-old woman who's doing this. Not only did she mention earlier in the episode that she has a nanny, which there had been speculations about this and kind of teased and hinted in previous episode, yes, she is a grown woman that has a nanny to cook her to make her cucumbers, and most importantly, make her, you need some cheese pasta. Yeah, that's what her nanny makes her, and cleans and does dishes and does her laundry, all the stuff you would have a nanny do. A housekeeper slash nanny. Pretty normal for a 24-year-old grown child like her. So there we go. But back to it, back to the bouncy castle. So yeah, she gets a bouncy castle. Nick right away pays a visit to the castle, and inside they are definitely being bouncy with each other, as in bouncing each other's bodies up and down. Corinne basically mounts him and is very close to having sex until the women notice all this happening, obviously. And they are not happy to see Corinne just all over Nick on that one, making out and rubbing against him. Who knows what they did? It was a lot. And so, yeah, no one's more pissed than Puke Girl herself, Vanessa. And Vanessa decides to confront Nick about it and his motivations, and we have a sit down between Nick and Vanessa where she goes off on him about his motivations, what he wants, what he's doing, what he's looking for, and that she's not pleased and she is willing to leave if he's not there for the right reasons. So there you go. Scary situation for Nick, his top contender, threatening to leave him if he doesn't prove that he's there for the right reasons. And she doesn't even blame Corinne. She's blaming him for it. So kudos to Vanessa for stepping it up and laying it down on Nick like that to his face. And that's how the episode... And Nick is completely stunned and just mumbling and bumbling. The typical Nick that doesn't know how to answer stuff when he's confronted with. Uncomfortable and all. And that's how the episode ends. Once again, a to be continued. So, pretty solid episode. Again, on The Bachelor, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 if I had to rank it. We got lots of Corinne drama again. We got the whole nanny reveal, which sent the whole internet and social media buzzing about the nanny talk. So there's Corinne just being a bigger fool and admitting it. They are just really using her like an Olivia. There's just too many parallels, to Olivia with her. Just the silly acts, the way she carries herself, the way she does things. She's basically a sexed up version of Olivia, one that's more kind of intense and more sexualized than Olivia. But both are disliked, both have their own agendas, and Corinne is definitely a troublemaker here. But also in this episode, Nick hit it off with Vanessa. I think they're building something, and it was pretty legitimate, especially the way the episode ended. She's kind of got him in her grasp in a way, and I'd be shocked if she went anytime soon. And Rachel reestablished herself as also a front runner by getting a second rose in 3 episodes. She's got 2 roses already from dates. So Rachel's still getting it done, and definitely in his mind. But, the main thing was not much from Danielle in this episode. Danielle M. didn't get much play or anything. But this was a Backstreet Boys infomercial, commercial, whatever, promoting a tour. This is all about Backstreet's back, all right. Yeah, they were back, all right. And about 15 years too late. And but there we go. They needed some sort of star power. They always had some sort of semi-known celebrity. and today it was just the Backstreet Boys on a date. They usually do these musical kind of concert dates, and Backstreet Boys, they could have gone worse. Just doesn't probably resonate with today's audience. Maybe it does with certain ones that are in their 30s that grew up on them. Maybe it does in a way. Who knows? But the Backstreet Boys were making an impact, and it was all about Corinne. Time to max out on her before she goes home. Maybe my whole prediction of her ending, going to the Final Four might be off. I think sometimes when you just use someone so much, and the producers seem to be using her a lot and constantly pushing her on, it kind of means that they're running out of stuff for her, that they're just throwing her down our throats because she might be leaving soon. And it kind of seems from next week's preview that most of it is just women confronting Nick about Corinne, about how, she's not there for the right reasons and how she should be gone, and just kind of threatening him and wanting answers. So this might force Nick to think twice about it. Same kind of like Ben did with Olivia, where JoJo did with Chad, even though her and Chad never had anything. But this might be goodbye Olivia by next episode or the one after. And then maybe the focus shifts to like a Rachel, a Vanessa, or Danielle M. And leave all this drama behind. Usually they start off with this drama after like the second or episode. They establish the villain and kind of always ride the villain for the first 5 episodes, and then just start going down. Once the women kind of cut down to 10 or under single digits, it starts getting more serious. Then you start finding the contenders. But that was it. So episode 3, and Corinne, Backstreet Boys were the dominant force, and Vanessa making her mark. Not much Danielle. And Rachel revival. That's in a nutshell. Backstreet's back again for the only time. Well, next week we'll have episode 4, more Corinne drama to be certain. See how that plays out. In the meantime, make sure to check out my blog at bacheloruniverse.wordpress.com. Follow me on Twitter for more Bachelor news and content at JimRKO. That's JIMRKO. On Twitter, and you can see me on Instagram and add me there too at jim.alexander11. So make sure you spread the news about the podcast, download it, tell people to listen to it, be a community that supports The Bachelor, and reach out to me with any questions, comments, concerns, or just talk Bachelor, or just follow me for more information. So that'll do it for now. We will talk next week with episode 4. And I will see you guys later. Bachelor Universe, Jim Alexander, out for now.